What I want to do now is I want to do those examples we just did, but I want to solve them using proportions, which is what we just did, 2 ratios equal. So this method we're going to use to solve the previous questions. So again, this is the same question from before. You know, a car can drive 300 miles on a tank of 20 gallons. Make sure it's recording. Looks like it is. Good. Okay. So we have the question from before. We're going to solve it now using a proportion. Okay. All right. So for number 1, right? How far can we drive if we have 35 gallons, right? So again, we saw we were able to get one rate from the question. 300 miles over 20 gallons, right? That's the first rate we get based on the given information. Now, what about the other rate? Well, that's how far we can drive on 35 gallons. That's what X represents, how many miles we can drive on 35 gallons over 35 gallons. So we have one, so I don't want to go too fast. So we have one rate, which is based on given information, the other rate based on an unknown, as you can see. And then it's just like before. That you can cancel units, as you can see. Okay, miles and miles here cancels. Gallon and gallon here cancels. Let me just fix that. So we get this proportion. How do you solve that? You cross multiply. I mean, you could simplify 300 over 20 if you want to, but you don't have to. I just cross multiply. 300 times 35, 20 times X. And then from here to here, we divide both sides by 20. Let me actually just show that. Okay. And then these are going to cancel, right? So again, we cross multiply. Then we got this. We divide both sides by 20. And we get X is this here, which if you work it out is 525 miles. And so again, the whole idea is we have 2 ratios. One is based on given information, usually what's in the question. The other one has an unknown, which is what X is. Cross multiply, and we solve. That's good. For the second part, now we want to know how many gallons are needed to drive 30 miles. Well, again, we have the same rate from before. So again, we want to know how many gallons are needed to drive 30 miles. We have the same rate from before. This next rate, though, is how far we drive, 30 miles, over the amount of, the number of gallons of gasoline, like so. And that's what I'm calling Y. I mean, I could have used X again if I wanted to, but this is okay. So this was the rate from given information. This here, as you can see, is based on unknown, distance over number of gallons. So they're equal. And just like before, the units will cancel. We get this. And we want to know what Y is. So we cross multiply. So let me say that again. Units cancel, right? Units cancel. Then we cross, maybe this will help, multiply. Y times 300 is 20 times 30. And then you just do the arithmetic. You have 300y equals 600. And we want to solve for y, so we divide by 300. The 300 here cancels, and we get 2 gallons. Okay, that's good. Okay. So let me now do the next question. Do you have questions about this? I mean, I don't know if this makes more sense or not than the factor label method for you. I hope it does. So, I mean, I thought this would be a little bit easier, but I like showing both methods. And the last time I taught this course, some people like the factor label method. They preferred that, some of them, over this method. So, but not all. Yeah?
On like a test or quiz, are you gonna like say like we have to use this method or whatever method we want to use to get the answer? Like,
Unless I tell you what method to use, you can use any method you want.
all right, cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Very good question. But make sure, though, you show your work. So, you know, as I said before, there are websites that do the unit conversions for you. And, you know, if you don't show your work, then I'm just going to assume you use one of those websites. Not, you know, but so basically show your work is what I'm trying to say. Not just you, but everyone, I mean. All right, so for this one, again, with the walking at 1.5 miles per hour, again, you know, we're walking. We want to know how far we can walk if we walk for 4 hours nonstop. Well, again, we have one rate from the, it's the same problem from before. One rate we have from the given information, we can walk at a rate of 1.5 miles per hour. So the rate from there, we get this. So from the question, we get this rate ratio, 1.5 miles over 1 hour. So how far can we walk if we walk for 4 hours nonstop? Well, the other rate then would be how far we walked over 4 hours. But hopefully you can see from here, x's are unknown, and x represents how far we walked in miles. So this was our other rate. So what do? Set them equal to each other, cross multiply, and cross multiply. So again, the units, they're going to cancel with each other, and we're left with this here. And what do? Cross multiply. So we get 1.5 times 4. 1.5 times 4 equals x times 1. And that's just 6 equals x. So x equals 6, and our answer is 6 miles. So again, it's just setting up two ratios or fractions, I guess, and set them equal to each other and solve for the unknown by cross multiplying. Okay. For the second part, same idea, right? How long would it take to walk 9 miles? Well, again, this was the rate from before. Although, yeah, it's the same rate from before. You don't actually have to worry about inverting it now. You just want to make sure the units are in the same corresponding position, right? So the other rate would be miles, 9 miles, divided by how long it took. You know, hours, in other words. We don't know that, so that's what x is. I mean, they're actually equal to each other. We're setting them equal, but we can do that because they both deal with the rate at which we're walking, the speed. So again, from the given information, 1.5 miles per hour, that's our rate, one rate actually, based on given information From the question, we get another rate. We have the 9 miles over how long it takes us. That's our unknown. Okay? We set them equal and solve by cross multiplying. And this shows the work again. You cross multiply, you get x times 1.5 is 9 times 1, which is this, which is over here, excuse me. We solve for x by dividing. Okay, these are going to cancel. We get x is 9 over 1.5, and that's about 6 hours. Okay, so do you have questions about this? Again, whatever method, unless I tell you to use a certain method, you can use any method you want. Of these two, that is. But again, you have to show your work. Okay? So, I mean, I didn't say here let x equal something, but from here it should be obvious what x represents. So, all right. We can also use